Hello, everyone. Good morning. Paul Trenny here with the one and only Sasha Vinogradova. How are you doing, Sasha?
I am doing fantastic. Hi, Paul.
Yay. Great. Good to hear. I'm so happy that you're here. Very few people do I ask to host, and I'm like, oh, Sasha's on, like, let me host her and talk to her because she's an awesome designer. So give her a warm welcome. We want to welcome everybody else as well. We see you there, Marcia and Steve and Michelle and Fury. We're just happy that you guys are here with us. Mark, good to have you here as well. You guys are in for a treat. We have you here with us 2 days, Sasha, taking time out of your busy schedule. We had to wake her up early. What time did you have to get up this morning? It was like so early, huh, Sasha?
In my standards, yes.
Yeah.
So if I'm a little slow, it's okay.
It's all good. I don't know. Hopefully you have some coffee, or I don't know, get the blood flowing somehow.
Already. All
good.
good.
Good call. So we have you for 2 hours. We have a full day. We're going to be doing a lot of Photoshop compositing, and I'm so excited about this, Sasha. Hopefully everybody else is. Give her a warm welcome. And check her out. Should see her. Well, anyways, you could always click to the info tab and check out her work because she's amazing and an amazing designer. And I already had a sneak peek at what we're going to do today, so this will be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's been 2 years since the last time I've been here.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine, Paul? 2 years.
2 years. Oh.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't seen my work, I do lots of compositing.
And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt. So right up there near the top is what you made on Adobe Live.
That is from this stream 2 years ago. Lots of good stuff.
I mean, come on, people. Come on. Tell me you're not going to tune in and be riveted by all of this. I want to know everything. And I'm still fascinated by that stream and how you blended those plants in with the arm and everything. So,
and hey, today we're going to do something in the same realm, something again, connected nature with some beautiful models, doing something beautiful but a little creepy.
I love it. Even, can you scroll down a little bit more? There's also one with the hand and the vines wrapping around the hand. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, you do some 3D as well? Because I'm seeing 3D in here.
Yes, I very often use my 3D as part of 2D composite, and sometimes it's just purely 3D. And sometimes I do photo shoots and, there is no 3D, just a shoot.
Look at this. You got to be kidding me, people. Like, this is amazing. And I want to know everything. And we were talking before we were on the live stream, sort of about the agenda. And of course we see the image there. So maybe we kind of, I want to know everything. Now is our chance. Ask her questions. Everybody loves your work in chat, by the way.
Where are you seeing the chat? Is it in Discord?
We can't tell you.
Oh, wow.
No, it's on bheads.net/Adobe Live. You know that.
I should know.
You're good. You are totally good. It's been 2 years.
Yes, I forgot lots of things.
Somebody said they've been waiting for you for decades. That's a long time, but okay. This is going to be so fun.
Okay.
And right off the bat, Mikhail's asking about what 3D program you use.
I use Cinema 4D, but it really doesn't matter, guys. If you want to dive into 3D, like any software is fine. Just dive in.
And I want to know, like, your thought process, even as we go through this piece, like what determines whether you go with 3D or not. And we'll hopefully touch on that subject over the next 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of depends on idea. If idea requires 3D, I do 3D. If it does not require 3D, I do not do 3D.
Yeah, I wish most people can say that, because I think 3D is one of those things that are still hard to grasp, or not hard to grasp, but it's a whole other deal for designers, and or visual artists, I should say. I don't know.
Yeah, but I strongly recommend diving into it because Photoshop is awesome. It never goes away anywhere. Even if you're like a full-on 3D artist, you're always going to use Photoshop, but it just opens so many possibilities for you. Even if it's, very simple 3D skills, like even adding like 3D type or some, you know, spheres flying around, it still will elevate your work. So I strongly recommend it.
Awesome.
I'm looking at the chat. I see Anna is in there.
Hi, Anna. Awesome. Anna McNaught's been our guest. Amazing. I'm so glad she was tuning in. Kimmy J Designs, amazing illustrator as well.
I want to check out everyone.
You can't write. You gonna go start stalking people right now? Is that what's happening?
I'm going with my, yeah.
It'd be like, I get it, but it's cool that we have talented people in chat, hopefully asking some really good questions. It looks like we're already done. It looks already like we're at the end of the 2 hours, by the way, with the story. Look at this piece. Oh, you're not? I want to know everything. I want to know like everything, like where you started. Like, yes. Did the photo drive the concept, or did you kind of have an idea? Like what was the thought process with this initially, actually?
So let's dive in. I knew that what I wanted to do, I wanted to pretty much use the same concept from the last stream, where I connect something beautiful with plants, but also adding some, like, you know, a creepy element. Often when I have a concept, I have an idea, but so often I just go to stock if I didn't do Photoshop photo shoot for my idea, and just diving into the photos. So I strongly recommend for everyone to have their own libraries, because it's just so important to have amazing libraries where you can go deeper and deeper in other photographers' portfolios. And so often it depends on, you know, your preference, like a nice photo. So I found an awesome photo of this girl, and that pretty much sparked concept idea, and everything started with this beautiful sketch. That's where I usually start. I usually grab a low-res image and just paint stuff around, super, you know, rough, nothing even close to being amazing, but it gives me an idea of where I'm going. And also, as I said previous time, so much of what you want to do, you want to collect references, you want to collect the white, or you want to collect like your vision, colors, lighting. So I knew with that photo being a centerpiece, I wanted to create pretty much almost like an ornamental composition with flowers, and to add some wines tangling the back, and, you know, the crown was a little 3D element, and the wines were 3D.
And those were 3D because you wanted a crown with a certain perspective that lined up with the image, things like that. And you're like, oh, I probably can't find this out there on any stock site. Is that correct?
Well, it just happened to happen that on the previous project, I made a bunch of crowns. I was like, well, I'll just go to grab one of those. And yes, as you said, when you need a particular angle and you already have a model, you can just adjust the lighting, and it's there.
And Steve's asking if you take your own photos as well.
I do. Actually, all the flowers, except lilies, they came from the photo shoot I did before. Those are my hands. So yes, I actually recently bought some lights, and me and my boyfriend, we transformed our garage into a photo studio.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
Does your boyfriend also do design, or?
He does video and DPing. So lucky me.
Lucky you. It's like you and Anna have a lot in common, because her her husband does video as well. So it's like a
Yeah.
good combo of like visual designer and then a videographer.
It is
I learned
awesome.
a lot.
Yeah, when you can do things together, and yeah, like all those photos, we shot together, which was very fun.
This is can you zoom in on this a little bit? Just make it a little, we just want to experience it all in all of its glory. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. You really captured that lighting, that moody lighting that was from your storyboard too.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
Something to consider, lighting is so important. This is pretty much your number one thought when you either shooting the photo or you're picking a stock image. You want to go with a beautiful lighting, and from there, all your photos have to match. Like if your photos you composite and they do not match lighting wise, it's almost impossible to composite it well, and it's just like it's too much work for nothing. Always pick photos which are matching. Like for example, those lilies, those are just only 3 flowers which came from stock. You can see that I match the lighting, and the same goes with all the flowers. You have a top-down lighting, and
I'm interested in dealing with those situations where the lighting doesn't match and how you can help it match. So what you do there, not right now, but like as you get into it.
Yeah, I usually do not. I just avoid those photos. If I have to force it, I can paint some lighting, but it just doesn't. It's not worth it, and
it's tough, and that's like something will be off, and honestly, sometimes you don't have. It's like the perfect photo, but the lighting's off. Like how can you bend that light on that shape? I think what you often do is you're like, okay, well I can render that in 3D to get the lighting right. But it sounds like lighting is so important to you. You're just like, yeah, I'm not going to use that photo. This is not going to look realistic. Okay. Yeah. Or I'll take the photo myself. Right.
Yeah. Again, I said it before, and I just have to emphasize it. Matching lighting is everything. Sometimes like, whoa, this is a beautiful compositing. It is a beautiful compositing because everything matches in your eyes and brain, just being tricked that everything, I think, works together.
Yeah. And I think a clear giveaway, honestly, if we're between like somebody who's like, okay at Photoshop, is they'll paint in shadows and they'll paint with black. The texture is all wrong because it's a very smooth shading that you're adding over the top of something that like has texture. So as soon as you start painting things to try to match the lighting, I think that's like the dead giveaway.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
The shadows is also like a different subject, which I hope we will touch today. I think painting shadows is another crucial skill you have to have, except just picking photos which match in lighting, because you can match color, you can match contrast, but lighting is something you can't match. Or I saw artists who paint lighting, it's awesome. I just not one of them. And shadows, as you said, black shadows will kill it, and also the shape of shadows is important, and I hope we will dive into it. But
we want to do it all. You just continue to just do your thing and just talk about what you're doing, and we'll just continually just like be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wish that's what everybody's looking at your Instagram probably right now thinking like, yeah, I want to do that. So Clarissa's taking notes.
Awesome.
Grozengrad can watch you all day, which is creepy. Hopefully just watch you work in Photoshop. But yeah.
Let's dive into the compositing.
And I know you're not used to this because we make you talk while designing, which is a whole other thing.
I can totally talk and design, but then I will not explain what I'm doing, which is, if you're fine with that, I'm fine with that too.
I'm good with it.
Cool. So I created a new composition. I brought the sketch I did earlier, and I brought the image I liked very much. I keep it as the smart object for now. And what I want to do here, I want to remove the bra. So we have just a bare skin, and I'll add some lines later to it. This is very technical. There is nothing crazy about it. Many ways to do that. Paul, you probably know like a million ways. But if you need to remove one object from the photo, I really like using either content aware fill or a stamp tool. So you guys tell me what you think the best way to do that. Maybe I can learn something too. So what's interesting with content aware, if you try to do it like this.
And you're on that bottom layer. Boom.
Yes.
Never mind.
And I'm just checking.
Hey, Magdiel Lopez is in the house. Awesome,
Here
Magdiel.
you can see.
Good to see you. Oh yeah, perfect. This looks great. Continue. Sorry.
No, hi guys. You can see the result. So what we just need to select bra, which I'm going to do in a very rough way, nothing crazy. My beautiful tracing skills.
Hey, this is exactly what I would do. Like,
okay. And let's see. And with Shift, I'm adding some selections. And I can go to content aware fill and see the result. Okay, so here you go. What's important with the content aware, you see how here you pretty much have this line and you still see what's happening. It's because I didn't grab enough of that shadow, and I just need to extend my selection a little bit in those places.
In I know you just hopped out of that interface, but also from within that content aware fill interface, you can go in and add and remove.
Oh, see, that's why I like when Paul hosts those things. I learn new things. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so file, content.
And this is new, by the way. This whole content aware fill interface is fairly new. So, but yeah, that looks good. So you can see, Sasha, on the left side, see how there's a lasso tool and a brush. So right up there, click on that, and then you can like select you should be able to select a little bit more in the green.
That is so cool. Love it.
There you go. And you see that live update?
Yeah.
Bam. Nice.
Learning Photoshop together.
Learning together. We're learning together, everybody. It's awesome.
Okay, here's another spot. Okay, and Photoshop did its magic. Amazing. I don't know how it's happening, but it's happening.
And okay. you could output, like there's a ton of other things we won't get into, but there's a lot it can do, like, but that's all. Okay, yeah, go ahead. You're outputting it to a new layer, which is awesome. So that'll be kind of on a separate layer. Boom.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but cool. So the back is good. I need to fix a little bit of the shoulder here. I'm going to use just a brush. I use different brushes for different tasks. I like my favorite brush is either pressure size or pressure opacity. So for shadows, I use lots of this pressure opacity, and for just some precise work, I use the pressure size.
And you're using a Wacom or a tablet of some sort.
Oh yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah, that helps out a lot. I just recently got a Cintiq and I couldn't be happier. Like after 20 years in the industry, I finally got one. I'm like, oh.
How did you survive?
I have no idea. Just hacking through it.
Wow.
But now since I'm home, by the way, that gives me the opportunity to, since I'm home more often, I can actually use the things that I end up with.
So you didn't use any tablet before, or you used some other tablet?
I didn't use anything before.
Wild, 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 wild.
But again, I was traveling a lot and I was just always using my laptop with, just a trackpad. So that's what I got used to, and a mouse. So yeah, there's probably other people that are the same. Yeah, Grozen sounds like a super fan. He's like, you're going to learn more here today than you will in an entire semester. Right. I don't know about that. Well, okay, sure. You're here for 2 days. Guess what? We're going to give you full credit. You get full college credit to Adobe University, taught by Sasha, who is your instructor. And yeah, go tell your boss or some random person on the street. Smoothing it out, I see. Yeah.
Yep. Just using clone tool and grabbing some spots. And I think this is good. I'm just going to, I see a couple more places where I see the lines. And I'm going to.
And I feel like sometimes with some of this, like you could get carried away and then you got to step back and say, some of this might be covered by flowers or something.
Yep.
So also like, no, you probably know when to stop or at least what to cover up. If there is a hard part, you're like, yeah, I'm going to cover that with a leaf.
Yeah, it's important not to get lost in the details. Otherwise you'll burn yourself too soon and then it will take you forever to do things. So I grouped everything and, made a smart object out of this. So if I need to come back and adjust something, I can. And we have this, which is good. And from there, I want to start building the leaves, and I want it to be a perfect circle. So I'm going to grab this tool, holding Alt and Shift, I create the circle. And
yeah.
Paul, maybe you have a better trick how to align things. I usually, in order to create the rulers, I just duplicating the new layer with Control J. Then with Control T, I get the box, and then I add those. So
and then they snap into place.
Yes. So that's
fascinating.
How I know where the center is.
You can also, since you asked, you can go to, if you go up to View on the top menu and then go View, go down, you'll see New Guide Layout. Just click New Guide Layout. And now here you can divide it. Like you could say one column and one row, and it will divide it exactly. So that's just like another way of doing things.
Let's just...
Yeah. So
I learned the most from those Adobe lives. It's amazing, Paul.
No. And I think this is encouraging because they see your work and they're like, she must know everything. And it's like, Sasha, whatever you're doing, it's working and we're all super jealous. So thanks for that. But it also goes to show you don't need to know everything. And honestly, the more professionals we have on the stream, like they're doing things their way. It might not be the latest, greatest, hot new thing, but they've just, they do what works for them and you're doing what works for yourself.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree. It's like sometimes learning something new can be intimidating, but you really just need to learn a couple things which work for you. But always learn more things.
Yeah. And it's inspiring too,
Yeah.
And I love, this is why we have people on. It's like, I never knew that trick I didn't know you could snap guides while having the transform tool on. So anyways, cool.
And so from here, let's start on the some greenery, and I'm going to my files. As you can see, I have a whole library and I already cut some stuff out, so I just do not do the same thing over and over again. But just for now, let's grab.
I do the exact same thing. It's like, you know what? I use a lot of flowers too. I have everything cut out and I just throw them in an Adobe library, a Creative Cloud library, and run with it. And this is beautiful. Look at this. Is this a photo you took? That's
Hey,
gorgeous.
thank you. Thank you so much. It's just more you do the whole art thing, more you want to play with different media and just explore different ways to.
I don't know if you're not really allowed. I'm sorry, Sasha. I don't know if you're allowed to be good at photography, good at Photoshop, and good at 3D.
Well,
That's
I'm
too many
not
good
good.
at.
No.
That's too
Like, for
many good at
example,
things.
you don't have to be good at everything. You just need to learn the tools you need to use. For example, I'm not good at photography, but just adding a little bit of it helps me to elevate my work.
Okay.
So, yep.
And it's like you say you're not good at photography, you do it enough, and then guess what? You're like good at photography. So I think over the,
that's how it works.
Yeah. So this is beautiful though. I love this.
Okay.
What tablet are you using?
It's
just a Wacom, or what is it?
Intuos Pro.
Yeah. Intuos Pro.
Yeah, and I'm using A5. I know people who like A4. A4 is a little too big for me. It's like pretty much.
Yes.
my hand can get tired.
I agree. Like, I was lucky enough, I finally got a Cintiq Pro 24-inch. 24 inches, like the perfect size screen. Because the 30-inch would just be, it's just too big. Your arm is traveling over that screen. Like, yeah, it's a lot of real estate to cover.
Cintiq is, I had a hard time adjusting to Cintiq because I used regular tablets for so long that it just felt a little weird to me, but it's awesome. Like, I saw people doing such an amazing work there.
Yeah. And real fast, you are using the warp. You're warping this vine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really good because Puppet Warp will not bend it as smooth as I think, was it Distort?
Was that okay, so let's come
back.
How
you bent that?
Let's come back a little bit. So Smart Object, and this is just a warp tool.
Okay, there we go.
Warp. Yeah. I also going to use some liquify later, but for simple shapes, when it's not anything too crazy, warp is good.
Yeah. Because I feel like you get those nice, smooth curves. You could really bend something and make it really nice and smooth.
Yeah.
As opposed to Puppet Warp or Liquify is, it would be pushing around too many pixels. And this, you're just bending vectors, which is nice.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with Liquify when I need to have a little bit more of the precise work done. Let me explain this part. So, as you can see, when I have my leaf in place, I create, what do you call it, Paul? A mask? Yes. I create a mask, and I'm just grabbing gradient, which is G, and changing it to the black. I can do it either this way, or I can just hit
X. Yep.
And I create this sort of shadow, and then, as you can see, my tip here disappeared, and I just painted back white. And also, as you can see, when I was placing the leaf, I didn't rotate it too much. You need to, again, matching lighting. So you have a top-down lighting, and leaf has a top-down lighting too. So let's just, I'm just going to grab my PNGs at this point. All the flowers I cut out, there were just color range selection with Smart Select tool. If you want, we can come back to it again to do it again, but
looks like when you took those photos, you were doing it on a black background.
Yes, it was on a black background with this kind of lighting, so you can see it's top down. Yep.
I mean, this alone, it's like, stop it already. It looks really good.
Sometimes it's so much easier than it
Look at
looks
that,
like.
everybody. Can we get I just get a slow clap? Those images are gorgeous. Like you're already winning because you picked a very fine image, and you're augmenting it, of course, with these other gorgeous leaves and flowers and everything. So
Yeah, and that's the key to a awesome image. You need to set yourself for success, find good photos from the very beginning, and it's really hard to force something beautiful when your original materials
yeah,
are not
yep.
amazing. So this one I'm going to liquefy, because if I warp this, I think, oh no, look, I'm not going to liquefy this one.
And so, Sasha, you probably know about the additional options up at the very top in the options bar.
I probably do not. Tell me.
So up there, so you could split it like horizontally, or vertically, because I would do that. Like sometimes if I just want to, like, I want one part of it just to stay still, I'll put a pin, or chop it up certain ways if I don't want certain parts to move.
Oh my God, Paul! I just need all the knowledge inside of your brain. This is amazing. This is amazing.
It's awesome. You can divide that up any way you want.
See, before that, I would use liquefy. Now I don't need to do that.
Yeah, you chop that up any way you want. So nice.
So cool. So because this one wraps around so much, I'm just going to I'm going to flip this horizontally to cover more space.
Sweet. Welcome, Golden Rose and Attila and Tunic. Megan, everybody's clapping.
Hey, hi guys.
That is good. Geneval from says welcome everyone. Brazil here. The entire country of Brazil is watching apparently. So that's
I love it.
Jess Tomanic, good to see you. Lots of streamers. It's a big compliment when you have other live streamers tuning into your stream to watch you work. That's a compliment.
I think it's also, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, everyone who's watching. And I think it's also helping that it's your regular work time. And it's sometimes really good just to turn on some stream and to...
There you go, being modest.
Do your own thing.
It's probably because it's daytime, Paul. That's all. Maybe you're just pretty good, Sasha. So I appreciate you doing this. And again, everything you're doing is not, I don't know if it's terribly complex, like so far. And I mean that in the most complimentary way possible.
Absolutely. Like,
right. You're making it like, I feel like I could do this.
Yeah. It's, so I feel like sometimes things look just more complex than they are. And yeah, sometimes just important to dive in and see where it takes you. And sometimes, like for this comp, there are really no special skills needed. Mostly cutting stuff out, warping it, adding shadows. Very simple.
Raise your hand if you could cut out images. I'm raising my hand. Like, that's a good thing. Like, you just put on some good music, start cutting out images. Next thing you know, you're like, Sasha, you have this library of images.
Oh yeah, libraries. Libraries are awesome.
Just start dropping them in. Somebody did ask, like, what do you probably go through those situations where, like, obviously these photos work. What if a photo doesn't work? Like, do you have an archive of photos that just did not work, or like you just couldn't quite get to work that maybe you'll revisit sometime in the future?
Yes, absolutely. If photo does not work, I do not force it. As I said earlier, I just go with a different photo. I'll just find something which works better in that particular scenario. Yeah, you always, if you love this photo, you can find better use for it later.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes your concept isn't even working. I've had those situations where you're like, maybe I'll revisit this in the future. If I put it away for a little bit and I approach it again, I'll easily see what the issue is. I do that all the time because I think something is either awesome or sucks at night. And then I wake up the next day and then I have a different opinion about it. I literally did a render last night. I'm like, this looks pretty cool. I wake up and look at it today. I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah, sometimes you need to leave some decisions for later.
Yeah, because you could just approach it with fresh eyes, and it's so helpful. And I love what you're doing here. It's sort of symmetrical and asymmetrical at the same time.
Yeah,
it looks like it's perfectly symmetrical, and that's not as interesting, to be honest with you. Like when things are perfectly symmetrical, everything's the same, it can be beautiful. But I kind of like it gives your eye more of a chance to wander through the design when it's.
I agree, and especially here because we pick the nature theme. Nature is rarely perfect, so I wanted it to be less symmetrical. So we still have some symmetry, but it's natural.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Cool.
Yeah, so Sean's right. The most complex thing here probably is the shooting of the flowers to sort of match the lighting, sort of getting your resources together. I think, does that sound correct, Sasha?
Yes, it is. And also, hopefully, I have another piece later where there are a little bit more different techniques used. So we can dive in a little bit more technical stuff. But this one, it's just a beautiful composition, how you go about it, and yeah, what's the process?
Yeah. Sounds, Holly's wondering where you store all your cutouts. They're just on your hard drive, correct? There they are.
I usually
Where do you store them, and will you give them to us? Just kidding. That's what they're.
I totally
trying
can.
to say.
It's not a problem.
But they're like, trust me, I search stock images all the time, and these look like a classical painting. These photos, they're gorgeous with the lighting. So another revenue stream for you is upload those to Adobe Stock, right?
I actually recently started doing that.
Good, because you should do that with all these photos. I'm not kidding around, but they're absolutely gorgeous.
I literally started like a month ago, and it wasn't much, but like I think it was like $10, and I have maybe 30 photos in there. But I get this notification when something is sold. I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
nice.
Ooh. Yeah. It's like free money. That'll pay for,
yeah,
you could pay for coffee for you and a friend.
I know. It's like I don't need to do anything extra. It's already there. Yeah. So I'm placing the lilies somewhere pretty.
And I would buy these. I'm just saying, like it's money well spent. And what I typically do when I look for assets is I try to, sometimes you'll get, for one credit, you'll get like, 10 pictures of flowers or something. It's like when you have multiple in one, like those are the ones I look for. If you can, because this is like money well spent.
Totally worth it.
You could still use the free stock photos, those assets. I tend to think you recognize those. Like I could be wrong, but I feel like I know most of the good stock photos out there of beautiful women, to be honest with you. A dramatic pose. Yeah, I know where most of those are. And they're across all the sites, I feel, like Unsplash, Pexels and all those.
Yeah, I feel like when you do design long enough, you start seeing not even free images, like you start seeing the same models a lot. Yeah. So I'm sometimes trying to go a little deeper into other people portfolios on like stock sites, so I can have something more unique and something a little more interesting. And there are so many awesome artists, like it's ridiculous sometimes, like, wow, I can buy this photo. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. And Sasha, we really haven't talked about like Like, what are you doing for like your day job? Like, are you all freelance? You work for an agency in LA. Like, what's the situation now? Tell me.
I actually work for Apple now, and
You work for Apple?
yes,
No
and
way. What's your
I
role?
I am an art director in Apple, and I do some personal projects for like I really try to concentrate right now on more personal projects in my free time, which is awesome. And client work is great, but sometimes you need to go and find your own style, and yeah, that job allows me to do so while being
Good for
creative at
you.
work full time. But then just,
Aren't you in LA? The
I
LA
am.
area?
I am in LA right now, and it's a beautiful day.
I'm so proud of you.
As
I think that's
always.
so awesome. Well, congratulations on your new Apple job. You did not work for Apple when we talked last. That was like 2 years ago. I was at an agency. And I don't know if you can kind of summarize while you're doing this, and I don't mean to distract you, but like go more into your backstory,
Oh yeah.
like kind of how you came to the US, kind of what were you doing in Russia and all that stuff.
Yeah. This is actually something we talked about last time, and it's kind of fascinating. As you can hear, I am from different country. I'm from Russia, and I um, I did design at this point since like I don't know 16 years old, and at some point I worked in Moscow as a web designer, and I did 3D on the side as just personal projects. At some point, being a huge nerd, I saw first season of Game of Thrones, and I was so blown away. It was so amazing at this time, and it's still amazing. I wish the last season ended better. But I did some work, some personal project work, which is Game of Thrones sigils, and it was purely just for fun. And I did the Starks first and posted it, and the internet was like, do more. So I ended up doing a whole bunch, posted it online, and I got an email after a couple of months from LA, from a guy named Sean, and he asked me if I want to work on posters for Game of Thrones. And it was like, what? I didn't even know that would be possible. And yeah, it was a company called N Company. I worked with them. I freelanced for them for like maybe a year, and then they asked me if I want to come over, and I came over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I always promote doing personal art. Like, work is good, work is great.
Mm-hmm.
We all need to make money, and we also want to do the best job always. But I think just having this creative outlet and just doing things not because someone asked you, but because you really want it, and it's because it's part of you, it gives you more opportunities in the future because people just resonate with that more, and it sometimes leads to very unexpected twists and turns.
Yes, exactly. And like Michelle said, that's a wonderful story. It's like just an awesome story. And really, let's kind of level set because you were doing design for like 10 plus years prior to this, big break. Sort of this big break happened not overnight, but over the course of like 10 years. Is that safe to say, or you tell me?
I moved
You were
here.
doing web design, weren't you?
Yeah. I did web design. I also have a degree in industrial design.
Stop it already. I'm tired of it.
I'm just
You do it all.
I'm just jumping between different designs because except industrial design, it's all kind of almost the same. in industrial design, turns out you need to know lots of physics, and I'm not great at that. But I always loved engineered drawings. Like I had so much engineered drawings in my like university years, and I think my love for 3D comes partially from there.
Ah,
yeah.
No, that is cool.
But yeah, it at that point I did design for at least 7 years, and then yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, just to kind of emphasize everything you just said, like you were just doing what you loved. Like that's all you have to do is like do what you're interested in. Try this style out. Like do what interests you. Just try it and just see what happens. And of course, be true to yourself. You know, it doesn't really help to get on trends. If you're interested in trends, do that. But if you're not like doing things that personally are satisfying to you, like, I mean, that's the best formula for success, because it doesn't matter if your NFT doesn't sell. It shouldn't matter. You should be doing that anyway.
Yeah. NFT is a completely different world, sort of, and sometimes can hurt some self-esteem, and internet in general. Like, I feel like the hardest part in being an artist is to be able to filter bad stuff and concentrate on the good stuff. And which you also said earlier about not being swayed by trends. I struggled with this for some time. Like, if you see my work, I have so many different styles, and it's partially happened because every time I see something awesome, I'm like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. And it takes a while to find your own style, and not to be like, hey, everyone's doing robots, let's do a robot. And I'm like, the robots just do not do it for me. And
same. That's good. No, I love it. And you know, I'm kind of scrolling through your portfolio. Like your work is still very consistent. I tend to think that people, even though when they think they're branching out into a new style, it's like, well, like, I feel like I could still recognize that person's work. It's like, yeah, I could see that you did that. In my opinion, like, I don't know. It's just me. People think that they're switching up their style. I'm like, yeah, that kind of looks like what you've, I could see you doing that. And all that to say, I think we all have a signature look that even when we start to get into adding astronauts to our piece, it's still very much a Sasha work, even though there's an astronaut there. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It is. I think it's important to concentrate on what you really like. If you're doing something and it's easy for you, it's like, oh, I'm just enjoying it, listening to my favorite music, watching some show parallel with that, and I really enjoy it, then you're on track. And if it's something you really have to drag out of yourself, then maybe you should consider looking into something else, because I did both, and sometimes you're like, whoa, I'm really struggling and I don't understand why. And it's maybe because you're doing something you're not supposed to do.
Yeah. Something that doesn't, inspire you, but and to level set and say, you know what, like, there is your day job. Like, it's not all fun and games. You're still getting paid. If you're doing commercial design for a company, guess what? There's going to be stuff that you don't want to do. But it's nice when that there's like your evenings free to explore what you want to, like create this cool image that nobody asked you to, other than Adobe. We're like, come on and do something live.
That is my favorite thing.
We didn't ask you. Well, we asked you because you were already creating all this amazing work, whether inside or outside of Apple or in studio or wherever.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Steve, you guys are talking about NFTs, Steven. Yeah, the whole environmental impact of NFTs is a whole other situation we don't have time to get into, nor are we experts in that area. But yes, there is an environmental impact to that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think what it does do is it gets people excited about digital art. So, you know, in my opinion,
it's an interesting, different world that on one hand, as a digital artist, it's exciting. You can hopefully, I'm still not sure how long NFTs, like, will they last? Will they be, I'm sure they will stay as in some form or shape. But I think right now it's just so crazy. I think it will find some kind of balance in the future. So, but yeah, it's interesting. If you know, I can be an artist and just do that, I probably would.
Yeah.
It's a new opportunity, but I'm not sure of how long, like what it's going to be in the future.
Yeah, we will see. Looks like Grozen's asking, did you use actually a curves adjustment layer? And then do you have it set on screen mode?
Yes, I just did.
Or?
So if you look at this flower, it's a little different from the previous two. Those two they have more contrast, and you know, the dark areas are darker, light areas are bright, areas are brighter. So I first painted a little bit of shadows in there, and then because I wanted to bring those whites more, I grabbed my curves, I isolated only bright areas, and then I use screen on that.
Screen, okay. And screen gives something a nice smooth, like almost like it's, I don't know how you describe it.
Yeah, like
it makes it look good.
It's interesting, you know, especially when you start with Photoshop. So sometimes can be confusing all the blending modes, but like, for example, I'm not using too many of them, but I think it's good to know what each of them does. So for example, and I'm sorry, like, I maybe shouldn't even go in there. It might be boring for some people. Darker, super cool. If you have a darker mode than what you have, it's visible. If it's lighter, it's not visible. Same works with, so then I probably should make a tutorial about that and to not bug you guys with this pixel math. But pretty much multiplies all your pixels on what you have. Screen is like multiply, but opposite. It adds the value of your pixel to the existing pixel underneath it. And then another awesome blending modes overlay, where pretty much everything darker gets darker, everything brighter gets brighter. So let's say I have, I don't know, and I really should create a separate tutorial on that. It's really important. All those
yeah, and then keep this menu open real fast, because you're right, they're all categorized that way. So there's normal and dissolve, and then the next group for darken, those all deal with darker pixels. The next group deal with lighter pixels, and then there's just like I don't even know what to call them, like effects sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you tend to stick with like say screen and overlay? Do you find yourself, which ones do you use the most?
So I use the most, obviously, multiply, screen, add, overlay, soft light. I use color and luminosity a lot, and darken and lighter, I use it too sometimes. Like, for example, check this out. If I let's say I want to boost up the highlights on her skin, but you know, when I do this, it just affects the image too much. So what I can do this and then bring it only on lighten. So it kind of affects it a little differently.
Yeah, I've never, I usually don't use blend modes on adjustment layers, but it's nice seeing these.
So you
It
can
gives it a
see the
little
difference.
pop.
Yeah. And this way you also, when you do this curve adjustment, it affects your color too much. You see it, the saturation gets, it's just, saturation goes crazy. And I can control it too. Here I'm isolating only those highlights, and I can remove the saturation of those highlights. So it doesn't have that ugly orange anymore. It's just
good call. Nice. Look at you. I like it. No, nice tips. Ukaman says, great tips. Marsha says,
thanks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I strongly.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry about that, Sasha. So yeah, Freddie, as Sean calls him, who's why am I drawing a blank now? Come on, Photoshop Training Channel. Photoshop Training Channel has a good video on all those blend modes and goes through each and every one, which I think is good, but I love it.
Yeah, I strongly recommend to look into it if you didn't, because
Jesus Ramirez, thank you. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Do you know Jesus?
Yes, I saw plenty of his videos. You guys should too.
Yeah, he's done some Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges for us, and it's awesome. Did want to, not to talk more about NFTs, but I do want to point out that Mark Cuban is setting up a digital art gallery that allows for users to display NFTs in any form. So like, we'll see. Like, that's a big thing. It's like, once you buy a piece of art, how can you display it? So I'm hoping all these static images that I have in my house are digital, and I can change them based on my mood.
Yes, that would be nice.
That would be nice. And I want to have some of Sasha's work. And again, you could still have Sasha's work without paying for the NFT. Sure. Technically, you're not the owner, but neither, you also don't own the Mona Lisa, and you might have a photo of Mona Lisa when you would, if they allow for flash photography there. Probably they don't. Anyway. Yep. You've just been working away while we've been talking, and kind of amazing us as well. And still using the same tips you taught at the beginning.
Yep.
Like, there's no sneaky little tricks that only Sasha knows, which is very encouraging. And again, using the perfect images. Here's another thing you did. I got to stop talking, but like, you're also very aware of your proportions, so you're realistic with the size of those flowers compared to the person. Cause that's also another dead giveaway, is size when it comes to matching photos.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's easier with composition like this, but when it comes, for example, landscapes and some matte paintings, that is one of the biggest challenges, just to nail the scale. Nail the scale. Oh yeah, that could be one of your taglines. Maybe you try to work that into the conversation at work. It'd be one of your little sayings as an art director. You could be that hovering art director. Nail the scale, people. What do I always say? Nail the scale. Are you so as an art director? Are you over other like digital artists, or what's the situation? Or is it just are you independent both. Contributor? I do both. I'm like
you have the best of everything.
I'm lucky to be able to do like art there still, but there is also some actual art direction.
And that's good, because like someone like you, as say, if I was your employer, I want you to create your best work, but we're not getting the most value out of you if you're not teaching other people how to be as awesome as you are. So I'm glad you get to work with other designers and like bringing up the next generation of Sashas. That's cool.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's two completely different skills to be able to do something yourself and to work with others.
Yes, managing people and like doing art is two totally different things. And sometimes we fail. I think businesses fail people because they'll take the best artist and promote them to the manager because they're the best artist, when they're like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done that because they're not good at managing people and they're no longer doing what they loved. So you just, thanks for ruining their job. Not really. I'm being dramatic. Oh, yeah, or maybe sometimes you lean away from your mic. Maybe that's the situation. You're really getting into that lower corner.
And slowly melted on my desk.
That's me. It's like 4 p.m. each day. I'm like, you can't see me on camera anymore. I want to point out that you're painting on a layer group where you were a second ago, which is awesome. Just so people are aware.
One of my favorite adjustments, not adjustments, but one of my favorite Photoshop additions, which happened a while ago, is that you can work with groups and you can color correct groups, mask groups. I have so many group inside of the group inside of the group because
for sure,
because it gives you so much freedom.
Yeah, because you could, you do your initial mask on something that knocks out the black, and then you want to have a gradation. So it's like you want to have multiple masks on something and just put it in multiple groups if you want to.
Yeah, you see me failing here a little bit. Okay, this works.
Oh, this is a great question. Priyanka asks, who's like one of your favorite designers or photographers that you like? Like, do you have any people?
I have so many. It's like an unfair question.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, my ultimate favorite artist is I love James Jean and Tegan White. They're both more like artists. There are so many amazing photographers. I recently was chatting with what I love about the whole NFT world. I found so many artists recently, and so many artists found me, and there are so many conversations I never had before. And for example, photographer Bella Kotick contacted me about hey, maybe potentially do some collaboration together. And I love her work. And I was like, whoa, this would not be happening any other time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bella, Kotak. Yeah. Amazing.
And recently had collaborations also with Ted Chin. He was here too at some point. And yeah, lots of artists I really love, actually, like having conversations with them. Sometimes obviously not any collaboration related, and it's just like, world is so small in that way right now, and it's great. Like, artists are very supportive, and I'm having a great time just meeting people, chatting with people. Obviously not personally because COVID, but
yeah. Hopefully. Who did you say after James Jean? You said somebody else.
Tegan White.
Tegan White. Yeah. I love it. It's like James Jean, Tegan White, love their attention to detail. Like you could tell they've put work into this, and it's amazing. And their color palettes of all these artists you just mentioned, amazing as well. It's like they nail color. It's one thing to, sort of paint a bird, but just like, to create what they're creating is awesome.
They are amazing.
Okay, let us know if you guys have any questions. Let's do a time check. So we've been going for an hour. We have you for another hour. So, cool. And this is looking good.
Yeah.
And again, I like your use. You know what you're doing is you're painting with light by using an adjustment layer and then painting on that layer mask.
Yep. And at some point I'm going to group some stuff and paint it as a group. So I'm just making sure elements against each other, sort of in the right way. And having some shadows with them where they interact. But then I'm going to have a pass of shadows and light above everything after I'm done.
Good. Thank you. Awesome. I can't wait to talk about that stuff. But I think we can all agree. I would have stopped 30 minutes ago and been done and be like, this is amazing, but it keeps looking like better and better. Do you sometimes, I don't know, just like anybody else, do you sometimes like overwork a piece? Like, how do you know when to stop adding flowers, say in this case?
You know what's funny? You kind of come back to some knowledge you had long time ago. Every time I'm thinking about like, so should I keep it or should I leave it? And I have my art teacher from when I was 10 years old saying, if it looks good without it, remove it. So just, I always go through that filter, like check and check. If it doesn't do anything, if I don't see the difference, if it's like, oh, I like it this way and this way, I remove it. So
interesting. So if you like it maybe one way over the other, you're like, it's probably isn't really helping it that much by having it there. So what you end up with is the very like best of the best. Like removing it wouldn't make it as good. But I think you stumbled upon something awesome, and I'm glad we're talking about it, is the editing process. Because that shows like mature designers know how to edit. Just because you can add effects and do things, maybe you shouldn't. And I think that gets down to the editing process, which is a whole other skill set, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think what you also just mentioned about the when to stop, that is one of the, I think, very important moments. And yeah, sometimes less is more. And one of the challenges I struggled a lot and still struggle is, yeah, when to stop, whereas enough is enough, and not having a whole bunch of details everywhere, but rather be smart about where, you know, where the eyes go. Like when you see the new piece or anyone's piece, there is a center of, maybe not center of composition, but center of attention. And there should be details around there, but everything else should support it. So
Yes.
If it's overbearing or too heavy, it will harm your work.
Yeah. No, that's good. Like your layout definitely has a clear sort of subject matter that you look at initially. Like you have your primary view and then you have your secondary stuff. Yeah. Like so, and just like with most of your work, like you're very clear on the subject matter, and everything else just kind of supports it around it. But it's not like, it's not like you're flooding the canvas with imagery.
Talking about flooding the canvas with imagery, I am sort of tired of putting flowers in here. You can see where it's kind of going.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm going to jump into, oh, no, not this one. I'm going to jump into, I should close all this. Adding some, 3D stuff to it, and cool. Then painting over, and maybe we can move on because this is all the same stuff.
You feel like, and just even before we move on, does anybody have any questions about, I think we've covered all the techniques that make up this so far. So just kind of checking. If you guys have any final questions, let's move on.
Camera, I have Sony a7 III.
Nice.
Yeah, I picked it also because it can do video, and sometimes I do that too. Question: how do you come up with a composition? What is inside to your thought process? I mean, as I said, so often, well, first of all, I have my Pinterest boards, and that is always inspiring. Like, you kind of start understanding what does it for you. Like, I know I love nature. I love, as I said, combining something beautiful with something creepy. So kind of go there. And in terms of composition, same deal. You look at the references for the compositions, for the colors, and just lots of references.
I love it. That's like you work the, sorry about that. You work the kind of the same way I do. Is I go out, I use Pinterest a lot. I go out there and just like, I just want to see what's out there and that's really cool, that's inspiring me. And I just like, you just start with all these boards and you take all this cool stuff and it rattles around in your brain and then out comes something else, not to oversimplify. Do you sometimes find your work on Pinterest that like other people have posted?
I do. This is always like a little victory. You're like, oh my God, seriously? This is awesome.
I know. I kind of wish, I don't think Pinterest has, actually, does it have commenting?
It doesn't. And it's good it doesn't. It's
yeah, we don't need to be reading. We don't need to hear your opinion. Like, it just shows the good stuff. I love Pinterest. So
yeah,
very much into it. And Behance, of course. I use Behance. I like Behance. I sign up for their sort of newsletter, basically get their email, shows me awesome stuff. And yeah, I go there as well.
I wanted to show you guys maybe a quick look where the stuff comes from. So right now I'm going to add some lines. And what I did, I pretty much did a rough body and, tangled some stuff, tangled some lines around it, and then match the lighting. See, the lighting is matching. And then I bring it into the
little C4D action. Sorry,
yep.
I just had to pick up something. Very cool.
And I had what's called passes, where you can have different alphas and shadows. So it already, like, I created the alpha pass, so making selection out of that. And then I also have a shadow pass. I'm going to bring it there too.
Ooh, that's nice.
So I know, so convenient.
You could do the same thing with dimension. You'll get those different passes. You'll get the, like, if it's multiple items, you can select those because those all be in different colors on a layer. But the shadow pass it does not have, to my knowledge. I should double check.
It's also something you always can either paint or just render everything on the white and then bring it as, multiply.
Look at that. So you haven't bent this at all just yet? Like, it seems like that was spot on your 3D model.
Yeah, it's because, like, one of the things, as you can see here, when I was building it, I was building it.
Yep.
With the size.
There we go. That's what I was. I'm so excited. Like, I used to have C4D and I just started my new trial of it. So for the next 7 or 14 days, I'm excited to get back into C4D. But the same thing you could do in Dimension. You could drop that image in the background, and that's what I've been using. So,
yeah, I'm sure, as I said, like, any 3D software is helpful and can do the trick.
Yeah, and even if you're, I think Dimension is a good sort of way to get into 3D. It's just because you don't jump to a different software doesn't mean you have to learn everything all over again, because the same principles, a lot of the same principles apply. So
so as you can see, when I brought the render, it has, my alpha wasn't, it's not perfect. It just has a white outline, and there are different ways you can fix it. You either can go and shrink the selection. And I'm sure there was also the other adjustment on that where you can do the thing. But what I like to do in here, I'm going to use the fringe, where it's like image, edit, netting, and fringe.
I do not use this at all. What does that do?
It removes the white outline. But the problem with that, you have to have you have to merge the layer. It doesn't do it for the smart objects. So that's the only kind of minus.
But how does it remove? It just knows that there's a white border around that image?
Pretty much, yeah. It's something I picked up from matte painters. But yeah.
Yeah. So did everybody see that? I want to make sure everybody see that, because like that's been something that's been in Photoshop for ages, probably, that we haven't talked about, and I know I haven't used. So that's good to know. Matting defringe. Ah, so exciting for me.
Yeah, it's also very helpful on, like, you know, when you have leaves, some kind of mountains on the background with some lots of small details. And also here, as you can see, I wasn't perfect, so it does not match perfectly. So I'm going to adjust it again with warp. Oh gosh. I thought I'll go into liquify today, but I'm really avoiding it because warp is just so much easier.
Hey. I you know, I don't use warp that much, so this is really encouraging to see you use it, because you get those lovely, you're just bending things beautifully. Works out well.
Yeah, and sometimes I just paint a little, so that's what I'm going to do here.
So this is so good, Sasha. Just like, yeah, just do your thing. Just going from photography to 3D, you know, and, you know, merging it all in Photoshop. It's really fun to see.
Yeah, as I said, again, this is like a precise work, so I'm using the
hard round pressure size.
Yep, and what's cool about it, like you see, because it's the tablet, I can control how much I need to remove.
Beautiful.
Just with the pressure. So
yeah,
guys, the tablets are really important.
You know what I think got me into you know, finally getting a Cintiq was the fact that I was working on my iPad and I have Apple Pencil.
Oh,
I got so used to using Apple Pencil, like in Photoshop on the iPad, that I'm like, I want that on my desktop.
I know.
So I kind of do you get, I don't know if you get free stuff like through Apple since you work there.
Not supposed to talk about it.
Oh,
stop asking questions.
Sorry about that. Shame on me. Spill all your secrets. Just kidding.
Do you guys have any questions on what I'm doing?
I remember, yeah, I went to go, geez, what agency was it? It was like yellow was their main color, an agency in LA, and they did a lot of the marketing for Apple. And all their marketing that they did was held in a separate like warehouse, like a separate part of their agency that you could not get into. Mm-hmm. You know, and then the agency, the rest of their stuff that they worked on was in the main building. So that's how I just thought that was interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that interesting now that I say it. You ever tell a story and like I bored myself with my own story. That's what just happened
all the time.
That was the most boring story ever.
Yeah. Cool. So now I'm going to transfer some shadows, which is, so I'm going to grab it from alpha. You see it's black and white alpha. I don't want to move anything. I'm just going to hold Alt and isolate the layer. Please don't touch anything, any isolations if you do that, because it will kill it. Then with control, I'm going to channels. With control, I'm picking my RGB, coming back. With Alt again, I'm returning everything.
Nice.
And then I create new color, new solid color, or you can also use the, you know, just to fill the layer. I like this because I can control the color even post. And I do the multiply.
Slow clap, everybody. Everybody catch that? Probably not.
So now I'm duplicating it because I don't want to lose the bottom part, and I'm going to do it later, but pretty much I'm just grabbing this and then inverting selection, bringing back black, and
yeah.
alt backspace.
What about the...
Oh,
there we go.
What's on the mask? Nope, wrong color. Okay, so now you see, you can what's the name of this key called?
Alpha. What key? I don't know. I don't use it very much, but it's like the come on, the quick mask mode.
Yeah, something like that. And I sometimes use it because oh, this is not the brush. Sometimes use it because I can see the alpha very well. And also, if you remember, I warped some stuff. So now I'm going to grab my alpha of the shadow and warp it too. Oh, nope. Does it do it? If not, I'm going to just, oh yeah, it's doing the thing. So yeah, I'm just warping shadows at this point to match my thing a little better.
Yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions. I know Sasha went over a lot there. Yeah, would it be possible to get the vine effect without using a 3D program?
Yes, you can just do your regular photo compositing, do what I just did with a grabbing photo, warping it, adjusting some light on it, and you can totally have something very similar.
Oh, yeah. How did you get into the quick mask mode, by the way? Like, what did you hit a key?
I mean, this mode?
Yeah, yeah. What did you hit on your keyboard? What?
My Russian.
Oh,
what do you call this?
Your sort of a backslash. Is that what that was?
I guess so.
Let me try. You're hilarious. Sasha can't tell you guys everything. She's like, she has to keep her competitive edge somehow. She reveals all of her secrets.
Yeah, I just don't know
the names. Buy a Russian keyboard and then hit the one in the upper right.
It's right above enter and right below backspace.
Yeah, it should be the backslash. Maybe it's Q or backslash. Q, quick max mode. Yeah, Q gets you in a quick max mode. But anyways, continue. Cool. I don't use it. I don't honestly use it very much at all. Is that just a way to work on a mask sort of temporarily?
It just shows you the mask.
It just shows it to you.
Yes. Okay. It's more information. Anything. Yes.
Okay.
It's sometimes hard to see what's happening, and it helps. Like, for example, right now I'm going to paint this to be a shadow, so I can go into my mode. So I'm inverting my mask, and everything red is pretty much black, so non-existent, and I can. So it shows me where I'm painting. It's not like I use it very often, but sometimes it helps.
Oh, backslash is doing it for me. So make sure you're on, actually let's double check. Yeah. Backslash will do it. It's doing it for me. Make sure you have a mask associated with it. All right. So welcome everybody here. Welcome everybody who's just joining us. Margarita, I see you there. Yeah, thank you. Bruno says Q. Hey, whatever works for you. It's either going to be Q or backslash, and probably depends on whether you have a layer selected or not, or if it's a layer mask. We have you for 30 more minutes. Ooh. So just kind of doing a quick time check.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of
looking really good.
this is kind of where we are right now. I can either keep going with that or I can jump into something else.
Well, let's just take, can you make it a touch larger so it's filling a touch more of your screen, just because I want to view it in all of its glory. There we go. Okay, so the crown you rendered, and you're like, yeah, I rendered this. So you could use 3D. You could try to find Photoshop assets. There's also something called Pixel Squid. So Pixel Squid, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I heard about it recently, but you know, I don't.
All it is basically a bunch of 3D models that have already been rendered out, and you could go a search for crown, find a crown, adjust it to that perspective, and use it directly in Photoshop. So that's all. It's like $20 a month. Or yeah, do you? And somebody asked this earlier, and I didn't know if you answered it. I don't know if you read it, but where do you get your 3D models? Did you make that? Or it depends, or what?
It depends. I model lots of it when it's something, you know, simple or something bespoke. I also buy models. The same Turbo Squid. So yeah, but like something like crown, I just modeled it. It's not that hard.
Yeah, for you.
They're
not
also
that hard when you're Sasha. Oh yeah, you want to make that cool? Just do this.
There are also plenty of free models on the internet, so that is not out of the picture.
Let's see. So feel free to try Adobe Dimension, because it's going to be your gateway drug to 3D.
Yep.
It could do some modeling, really basic shapes. And from there, I would get into Cinema 4D, right? I think what's cool about yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Unreal Engine going to be like it will overshadow all 3D software in like a matter of 5 years, I feel like.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I don't really know enough about Unreal Engine. Is it it's not software, is it?
It is a software, lots of games built on it, but it's becoming, it's like a real life 3D engine, and it's amazing. But I'm not that much into it either yet. I just know that the tables will turn soon.
So your advice for somebody wanting to learn 3D would be to learn Unreal Engine over C4D, or what do you think?
It depends. Like if you're looking into like hardcore, I'm going to be a 3D artist, I suggest Unreal Engine. If you are like, hey, I just want to elevate my Photoshop game, I suggest Cinema or Blender. Blender is free, and it's getting better and better.
Yeah. Farrah Manley, I saw she was on here earlier. She's been getting into 3D and using Blender, and has also been a guest of ours.
Nice.
So let's take a look at this as you kind of click around. Do you do sort of final pass? Like, do you do a layer above all the other layers that's like sharpens it or punches it up or anything like that?
Let's see. So coming back to this. For this one, because photos match so well, I didn't really have to do anything extra crazy. I edit pass with shadow and light, as you can see in here, which was really multiply and
so nothing. It's multiply, and you were just painting on that with multiply?
Yeah, just adding some shadows. And then I don't even think like I usually throw camera raw filter on everything, but this one, I just didn't need it. It's one of those moments where like, doesn't do anything, then I'm not going to do anything.
Gotcha. But all you really did there is just merged all the layers into a new layer, put a smart filter on, a camera raw filter on it, and then you just would play with the colors.
Yep. I think this piece is a little more decorative, so it doesn't need much effects, but the next piece I'm going to go through is this one, and there was there are more filter fun in this one, but that's kind of it. Any questions?
Looks beautiful. You didn't really have to mess with any color. Somebody's asking about color palette, like, and that's a good thing. Like you're even the flowers that you pulled in, like as soon as you added those orange flowers or those peach ones, I was like, yeah, that needed that color, because otherwise it was just, yeah.
Yeah, this came actually from original concept. I have more flowers than this. I have different color flowers, and when I was playing with original compositions, like there were red flowers and blue flowers, I just removed it all. So colors matching came from sketch rather than post color.
Can I ask, like, if you did want to change the color of one of those flowers, how would you do it without changing the green?
Yeah, there are so many options how you can do that. So in my case, that would be easy because they're already isolated.
Okay.
But let's say I want to change all the pink, yes?
Ooh.
I would try different options for this one.
Good.
Either, like, again, this is easy because I already have layers.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, this is one of the super easy one. I can just adjust that.
But that's going to change the green, won't it?
Yeah, you can isolate the color. So you can go just with the reds, let's say. So greens would not be touched.
Reds.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Then there's also so many options. You can, for example, in here, come on, I'm merging everything, and then I'm going to channels, and I'm seeing that, for example, red, red channel, you see the green is not selected, but our colors are pretty strong with that. So I can do this. Again, this probably an overkill for this particular case, but maybe just tool for the future.
So you copied that black and white image, mainly just isolated the reds.
Yeah.
So it's basically a black and white image created from the red channel. And now you're adjusting the, the whatever brightness, contrast, or whatever to tighten it up.
And so now I can, again.
And then you copied that image layer and turned it into a layer mask. How did you do that?
Okay, what?
I'm sorry, you were working. How did you take that layer and the next thing you know, that black and white layer was all of a sudden a layer mask on an adjustment layer?
So I didn't have to do that because I kind of looked at it here and just did it by, as a habit. But let's say I change something in here, and then I can just copy it and paste it into my, in here as the new channel.
Okay.
And from here, that
is going do a control click, makes your selection. And then you just paste it on an adjustment layer.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody caught that, but I like the idea of sort of you make it a temporary like alpha channel.
Yes.
Copy it and then paste it.
I use channels a lot, especially for some, problematic masking like hair or again, some landscape with trees. It's very helpful. Cool.
Very nice. You nailed it. Pack it, ship it, put it on foundation, sell it for $2,000 and destroy the environment. How's that for a hot topic? Just kidding.
Don't want to overwhelm. But yeah, we can go start with other piece if you guys want.
That was amazing, by the way. So thank you so much for creating that. Everybody's like, inspired to take up photography, take up 3D, learn all the pro tips in Photoshop, and you make it look so easy. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, Photoshop is fun.
I like the instant results, by the way. Can I just add that? Like 3D, there's an element of you got to wait for it to render. You correct me if I'm wrong. And I've been doing sort of After Effects. It's like, well, I still got to wait for it to render. Photoshop, there's instant gratification, which is just so fun. So
yep. I mean, the computers are getting stronger, like
they
more
are
powerful and powerful. So
that render window was beautiful. Yeah. And what are you using? Are you just using a MacBook Pro, or what do you got? Or you have something else? Yeah, I'm sorry. You're on a Windows.
Yeah, I have PC for my personal stuff and Mac for other stuff.
Because you needed that power for 3D.
Yeah,
and it was a little cheaper. No offense to Apple, by the way. I know we're touching on some interesting topics, and I'm sorry.
I have no. It's the 3D stuff is interesting because you have you need particular video cards and CPUs, and I believe Apple is working on it. I'm not sure, but just for my 3D needs, PC works better. But Mac works too. If depends on what render you're going to use. And also, I just this computer is maybe 4 years old, so it's what's cool. You can just mix and match, and I recently added some more RAM, and
nice.
Maybe we'll add more graphic cards to it.
I love this. People are really into this piece too, as well.
Cool.
This almost looks good to be an animation. Like I could see those leaves falling, and as soon as they touch her, she turns green. She gets poison ivy in her eyes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a little poison ivy vibe going on here. I wanted to mention, guys, like I announced it on my Instagram, but I wanted, like, if you're interested, the techniques I'm using today and tomorrow, I have a little challenge which called Surreal Nature Challenge. If you want, you can create some of your own compositing on that subject and post it either on the Adobe Discord here in Design Other and tag me, or you can DM it in my Instagram. And I'm going to send my prints and do a little promo, whoever makes the best work. And if you want, I also can do a portfolio review if you're into that. But yeah, if you want to try and create something with a surreal nature, please go ahead and do that.
And Sasha, can you, did you post that image? Like you showed me an image of what to do exactly. I don't know, can you post whatever you need to the Design Other channel about everything you just said?
I am going to. I am still going to. Yes. Yeah,
no problem.
I'm going to repeat it tomorrow. So
cool. So yeah, if we get some images. Great. Mm-hmm. You can review them or just check it out all on her Instagram. So that'll be cool.
Oh, wait.
Share your work.
Let's dive into this piece. So again, I went into the whole depths of stock images and found this amazing photo.
Beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I have not seen that one yet.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is fresh.
It is fresh. Good catch.
Thanks. I'm telling you, I have collections. It's like anytime I see a new face, which I haven't seen before, I'm like, ooh, nice lighting. Totally grabbing it.
Yes.
I love this depth of field.
Yes.
So I am starting new composition. And this one is going to be a little easier. I saw that parallel with that there was a makeup challenge, and I thought it would be cool to like give people some options to, elevate that game. one color filter I absolutely love is the gradient map, and I think people do not use it enough for editing particular parts of the photo, because it to me it's one of the least color destructive filters. And when you need to paint something, like for example, because we're going for that poison ivy look, I need to paint her skin. And if I, for example, just do something like this, it will work, but I have less control over what's happening. So I love the gradient map for this kind of stuff. So black stays black. I'm adding new color in between, which is going to be green.
I like it.
Yeah. And this one I might change to. So no, I want those highlights, so I leave white, but I'm going to add another color, and then I'm going to spread it out a little.
Yeah, so you're just remapping those lights and darks and remapping them to different greens.
Yeah, and there's so much control over the highlights and their color. So it's like, I love it. I love that.
And it's all non-destructive. So you could tweak this forever right now and then go back and tweak it forever later.
Exactly. Yes.
like we do as designers. We tweak things to death. It's our job.
Yep.
Paco says the poison ivy's no joke. Poison ivy, poison oak. Don't get those oils on you. Good call. He's our resident nature conservationist. Which I love him for.
Yeah, he also does an amazing what I learned, not time lapses, but Paco, how do you call it? What do you call it? Those photo lapses?
Hyperlapse.
Yes. Check out his work. It's amazing. I was so blown away when I saw it for the first time. I harassed him about how he did it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And like, I remember when Paco first started working at Adobe, it's like, oh, you know how to do all this technical stuff. And then this whole other side came out of him, like him doing this amazing photography and videography. Like he might have mentioned it, but it's like not till he started really like, or at least showing us his Instagram, I was like, you're amazing. Like you need to be a guest on Adobe Live, Paco. And I'm like, I'm being serious because the guy knows his stuff. So it's good to see.
Yeah, and when I'm not jealous of his hyperlapses, I'm jealous of his travel photos.
Yeah, see, he's traveling, doing in nature, trying to not touch the poison oak or ivy. So you threw a color balance on here, and you're kind of painting it back.
So with the gradient, I painted the mask here. I made sure that the red in her eyes stayed red. Like, this is sort of the key for it to look natural. And now I want to change the color of her eyes, and I'm just throwing color balance on everything, just sort of, I can see it. Creating mask, converting mask, and now painting only eyes. Cool.
Yeah, just using a little color balance there. Layer mask.
And I'm going to paint her lips, and for this kind of stuff, I'm using soft round pressure, opacity, and flow, because I can control opacity pretty much with, again, tablet. If I do just a slight pressure, it's very slight. If I do strong pressure, it's strong. It's very, very awesome and helpful. And
you could have also duplicated that gradient map layer, and
if I want a different color, if I wanted like different color from the skin. It would be nice to have it on 2 separate layers.
So she's like, oh, is this poison ivy? Let me rub it on my cheek. I can't quite tell. Let me just like try to taste it. Let's put it on my lips. Yep, that's poison ivy. So, lady, can't take you anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, I love that. Do you see that little pop of yellow in there? And your gradient map looks so good.
That's magic of gradient ramps. Okay, so from here I'm going to add leaves because I love leaves, and this came from this.
If you say from your backyard, I'm gonna die. Just joking.
No,
just because it looks so good. I totally want to know. You had to have rendered them. Did you render them? What did you do?
No, I bought them in Trader Joe's.
At what? Oh, you bought the leaves at Trader Joe's and then you took photos of them?
Yep.
Oh, I knew it. But again, love this image. Grabbed one, boom, already looks like a painting. Let's go, put it on our cheek.
And by the way, again, like I said it so many times today, lighting. So this one, you can see that light comes from, look at the shadows, see? So we know that the lighting is coming from here, and always be aware of your lighting. So matching lighting. Yes, and it's going to be fun to match the depth of field too. Oh yeah. Which, just a time check, we have, we have about like 10 minutes. So we'll get to what we can today, and then we can revisit it, jump back in tomorrow as well, hopefully. Totally. Sweet. Yeah, and now shadows. I'm using brackets, the square brackets, to change the brush size. And so I'm going to paint just on multiply layer over everything, and then I'm going to paint the actual mask. Okay, so this is good. Creating layer, inverting it. And for this one, because I need something more precise, I'm changing to a soft pressure size. Because as you know, as shadow goes, when it's close to the shape, it's sharper. And then when it's farther away from the shape, it's blurrier. So I can mimic it with this brush. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that control, people. And for this, I can come back again to the Thank you. It's so encouraging just to see you use only like standard brushes. Yeah. So thank you. Sometimes you don't need more than that. That's all I want. Like, just keep it simple. But as I mentioned before, in the previous Adobe Live, one of my absolute favorite brushes is Sam Nielsen brushes, and I use this Smudge Nice one for shadow. It is a game changer. They're free on internet, and you can control this whole blurriness situation. It's amazing. Oh, nice. Yeah. I thought I'll have to check out Sam Nielsen. Here we only talk about Kyle Webster, though. I'm sorry, just joking. So, friend Paco says it looks cool. Everybody's loving it. Want to welcome everybody to stick around. We got a full day of awesome stuff happening. We're going to dive into some video with Premiere Pro and dealing with some travel video, which will be pretty cool. So, with fun stuff. Carl Shakur and I think Amber Talaba is going to be with us. Am I? Oh, that was yesterday. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I was watching that, and that's right. It is Wednesday already, people. In case you didn't know what day it is, just so I can be good for something, today is Wednesday, March 24th. And yeah, Carl's stuff looks pretty cool. Premiere Pro. Thanks, Baco.
Nice. So many fun people. So I'm just going to wrap it up very fast. I did the same thing with all the other leaves. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So as you see, all the leaves got their own shadows, which been made the same way. I added here this edge, which I just painted.
Yeah.
To add a little bit of the dimension. And also what I did with leaves, as you saw, as you mentioned, adding depth of field. So here the leaf was, sharp, but we have this very shallow depth of field. So I'm using blur gallery on it, the iris blur. Control H can hide and unhide the thing, the filter. So as you can see, this is like a gradation. Here is your sharp area, here's your blur area. You can control how much you want to blur that leaf. Obviously, we don't need to go hardcore on this one. Yep.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing with all the leaves. And one little edit some again, painting over the highlights. I grabbed one of the leaves from the previous comp and just blurred it a lot to have, a little bit more of the hidden in the jungle sort of thing. Again, that was field blur. And another leaf like that, painted over with the overlay, some of the highlights. And then fun little thing I do, like I wanted to add those bokeh elements, and what they are, they're just white blobs which I drew earlier, and I threw a blur gallery at it, which is iris blur.
Oh, nice. I like it. I like those little touches that I wouldn't have noticed it as much, but it just gives it a nice atmosphere. So it's not just person and leaves,
Yep. And the very final touch I do on some comps like this, I add a little chromatic aberration, which I just throw a new layer. Maybe you know a better way to do that.
Ooh, show me.
And I just shift red channel left, shift blue channel left and right. I suck at it. And you can see we have this nice chromatic aberration, which blends everything, all your editing.
Did you do so what did you do there? What did you do on those channels? Yeah, I didn't get that part.
Okay, so again, let's go to the history. I brought my image, I merged it with the background. It will not work if there's multiple layers, so that's why I had to bring it into the new file.
Yep.
I'm going to the channels, and I'm grabbing my red channel, clicking my red channel, and with just move tool, I move it left a pixel, and going to my blue channel and moving it, left 1 pixel, right.
Okay.
1 pixel. And as you can see, that's what's happening. Let's see, like if I move it even more, you can see very, very strong chromatic aberration.
Oh, okay. Chromatic aberration, that's when you get some It's like the channels are off a touch, but
Yeah.
more importantly, it kind of, does it help tie the image together a little better?
Yes, it's pretty much all your composite and you did on top will blend better because all your pixels will have the same unified look.
Amazing. I've never seen that done before. I'm so thankful for you, Sasha. This is down to our last minute. We got to wrap it up, but you were amazing. And I'm so thankful for you. Did you have fun today?
I had so much fun, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Yes. And don't forget about the Discord channel. Submit your work and we will review it. You can go check out Sasha's Instagram for more, or just go to the Design Other on Discord Photoshop.
Yeah. And
channel.
we might go through it tomorrow to look at some work.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sasha. Everybody stick around. We have Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge coming up next, and then some more video and awesome stuff this afternoon. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you. We'll see you guys soon.